Adrian, first game up, what are you expecting from the Australians?
Hello and welcome, or rather welcome back, because I'm sure you've been watching as the morning has unfolded. We are at the New Zealand campus of innovation and sport in Wellington, or rather just outside Wellington, for the 2024 Wheelchair Rugby World Paralympic Qualification Tournament. We had the first match in Group A this morning, and Germany overcame Colombia 58-51, and the other two teams in this group are the favourites, Australia, that we're looking at now, the green and gold, and then the team in red from Central Europe, Switzerland. These two in Group A, that's very kind of the Swiss. As soon as they get a mention from me, they start waving, which is very good of them. As you can see, Switzerland with a smaller squad than Australia. Australia with the full 12. They've got 12 players here. They've got a development squad of another 3 back home. Advance Australia fair, followed by the Morgenrot, the red of the morning, which is the Swiss national anthem, which gets to be sung in 4 different languages, since they have 4 languages in Switzerland, which is quite amazing for a country of only 8 million inhabitants. My name's Drew Lilly, and alongside me I am lucky enough to have Amanda Lowry, who is a multi-sport wheelchair athlete who plays her wheelchair rugby for the Bay of Plenty Steamrollers. Who invented that name?
Not sure. It's just quite...
It's a great name, though, isn't it?
It's good because we've got the Steamers are our local team, are our actual rugby team down there. So we're the Steamrollers.
There we go.
Take
I
that.
see.
Beautiful.
Excellent. So the Steamers and the Steamrollers, excellent. It's like the All Blacks and the Wheel Blacks. But let's move on to Australia here. As I was saying earlier, they have an absolutely huge stacked lineup, and the great thing for them is that they've got 2 female players in there, Ella Savlajak and Shay Graham. And as we were discussing earlier, that means that they can have 8.5 or even 9 points out on court rather than 8. It'll be interesting to see what kind of lineup they start off with, particularly in this group game. Are they going to go for the high-low? Will they have Riley Batt and Chris Bond out there? Will they go for a more balanced lineup? Will we see Ella and Shay? Will we see the likes of Andrew Edmondson in there, Josh Nicholson, a couple of excellent 2-pointers in there. They've got a real embarrassment of riches because we've mentioned Riley and Bondi, the captain, who took over from Riley Batt recently. And then they've got, there he is, look at that mullet, number 15, Braden Foxley Connolly, BFC, another 3.5 pointer. So they have an absolute embarrassment of riches there. Not exactly the case for the Swiss. The Swiss have struggled in recent years. They're the outsiders here at this tournament as we look at their squad there. And it's a smaller squad, and they are without their captain, David MZ, who is very much their standout player. But the Swiss don't have any high pointers. The best they've got are Jeremy Genal and Armen Dautai. Dautai is likely going to start for them and play as one of their high pointers, but other than that, they've got nothing higher than a 2.5 as we look at the lineup there. 24, Armand Dautai, and then Jeremy Genal, the number 9. Quite likely that those players will be featuring throughout, I'd have thought, the 32 minutes here against Australia, but they're very much going to have their work cut out for them. The last time these 2 teams met, as far as I can remember, was at the Sydney Paralympics in 2000, and that man there, Brad Duberly, was playing for Australia back then. And we're going to hear from him now because he spoke to one of our colleagues a couple of minutes ago.
Brad, first game of the tournament, Switzerland, what are you expecting?
The European teams are always interesting to play. They spread the court really well. So for us, we're just worried about ourselves, getting off to a good start to this tournament and making sure we get all our players in combinations playing well throughout the whole tournament.
300th game coach today. Reflections on your achievements over 300 games?
Look, it's not really about me. Like, obviously it's 300th game, but I've been extremely fortunate over all the years to have played alongside, obviously in my playing career and even coaching now, some incredible players like the likes of Riley and Chris and stuff like that. So I've been extremely fortunate and to coach those guys, but just as a team, like we've been so successful for such a long period of time. Like, just great memories with the players and the staff. Like, you know, it's not over yet. Still, you know, who knows? There might be another 300 games yet.
Go well, mate. Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks.
Good luck for the tournament too.
Thanks, mate.
Brad Duberly there, who is in charge of the Australian team, and we also got a chance to talk with his counterpart, the Swiss coach Christian Hanel.
And what's lovely,
Adrian's first game up, what are you expecting from the Australians?
For us, it's the hard game. I mean, it's the world champ. We will give our best, and let's see what's coming out. But yeah, they are clear in the favourite position.
And players for your team to watch out for? Who should we be looking for from Switzerland?
We don't have exactly one guy. We are really a team, so everyone has to be as a best, and then we can maybe upset them a little bit. So we don't have one. So it's like a team.
Brilliant. Hey, good luck and go well today.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Christian Henel, the player coach of Switzerland, and then Brad Duberly, as we were saying earlier, a former player and now turned coach, and quite a coaching career he's had.
Yeah, as I was just saying, this is his 300th game coaching the Australian side, which is fantastic.
It is. It's a tribute to his longevity and the fact that he's actually and it's great for the sport that a team like Australia has managed to play that many games, quite simply. So here we are, the fans here at the NZCIS counting down to the start of this match and the start of the first quarter. Let's see who wins the tip-off. And how about that? The Swiss get possession. Yves Langhart, the number 11. Armin Dautai, the number 24, is definitely someone to keep an eye on. He's the one with the beard there in possession, but there's some swarming defence from the Aussies. And an immediate turnover. So it was almost a perfect start for the Swiss, and then they have their pocket picked, and you're always going to have your pocket picked when you're coming up against the likes of Bat and Bond. It must be incredibly daunting for them to look at the other side of the court and see the likes of Riley Bat and Chris Bond coming up against them.
Just such strong hands.
So the Australians going very high-low at the moment. High in terms of two high pointers, Riley Bat and Chris Bond, 3.5 points each. So 3.5 plus 3.5, that makes 7, which means you have to have the two 0.5 pointers out there. Two very good friends, Bo Vernon and James McQuillan. Quill, the number 5, and Bo, the number 11. Swiss struggling to get it over the halfway line, but they do manage to do that. Dautai to Langhart. Genal then losing the ball. It's going to be a little bit demoralising for the Swiss at the moment. They've had a couple of possessions and have failed to score.
It's just so dynamic, that high-low mixture with those two.
The Swiss obviously don't have that luxury. The best they have are a couple of 2.5 pointers, so they've gone as high-low as they possibly can. Armin Dautai and Jeremy Genal, and there we go. Huge round of applause from the crowd here at the NZCIS as Armin Dautai goes over and gets the Swiss on the board.
Beautiful long pass.
And you put it, oh, there we go. Well, there's a bit of a hit there from Genal on Riley Bat, and referee there having a word with Jeremy Genal, who is quite a seasoned competitor. He was at the World Championships in Denmark, where the Swiss finished 10th out of 12, and obviously wants to send out a little message to Riley Bat early on. But the only problem with Riley is that Riley is permanently in the ears of the referees, and so he wouldn't have let his counterpart get away with that one.
Some big hits coming in there.
Yet another big hit there, and Riley Bat just managed to keep his wheels inside the line. You can't go out of play, otherwise you forfeit possession. And it's one-way traffic at the moment. The Swiss, their lineup: Jeremy Genal, Armin Dautai, a couple of 2.5 pointers, Anton Michukov, number 10, and then Yves Langhart. So that's 2.5, 2.5, 2 and 1 to add up to 8. Big hit put in on Chris Bond, who took over the captaincy just ahead of the World Championships in Denmark 18 months ago, which Australia won. And Bond finds himself in the sin bin, so this is a good opportunity for the Swiss to get some points on the board. Bond will remain in the sin bin for a minute or until Switzerland score. Of course, good opportunity for Switzerland to get points on the board. It was also a good opportunity for Australia to practice their 3-on-4. Bond wheels himself out of trouble and goes coast to coast. Genal needs to get the ball over the halfway line within 12 seconds. Does so. Bond there gets back to block Langhardt and provoke yet another turnover. What do you do when you find yourself 6-2 down already? It's only 3 minutes in, and what on earth do you try to do to turn the tide?
You just try and keep your patience and look at the hands and just try and keep them out of play. But keeping Bondi and Riley out of the way is just it's impossible by the look of this.
It's almost unfair, isn't it? But even if they were to have, I don't know, what you could call a B lineup, then it would be Braden Foxley-Connolly, likely Andrew Edmondson, Josh Nicholson, and then perhaps Ben Fawcett.
And all very strong.
Exactly, 3 of whom have got huge experience. And then Braden Foxley-Connolly, who is being groomed to be the successor of the likes of Bond and Batt. And it's yet another turnover.
And just keeping out of the way of those hands the whole time.
Doughty makes progress.
It's just so much pressure.
Ball bounces around and ends up back in Doughty's lap. That was a lovely little pop over the top there from Michukov. You can hear that there are plenty of kids in the crowd from local schools, and they're going to be cheering on the underdogs. And let's be honest, they're going to be cheering on the team that's going against Australia, aren't they?
If we're fair, it's always anyone playing Australia.
There we go. So, in terms of full disclosure, I'm an Australian permanent resident and have a Swiss passport. So I am entirely neutral. Yes.
Like Switzerland.
Saying I'm neutral makes me sound more Swiss.
It does.
But, yes.
Yeah.
So there we go. In the commentary box at the moment, we have both teams and the host nation represented. How good is that? And yet there's only 2 of us. So,
beautiful.
Yeah. So a first timeout has been called. That's been taken by the Swiss. No, it hasn't actually. It's just the ball going out of play. The Swiss had a time to regroup, but well, Riley Batt is going to pick your pocket time and time again, and that's exactly what he's done there. Samuel Schwarz is the number 25 who's come on for Switzerland, as has Roger Frey, the number 3. That was a huge lofted pass over the top from Michukov, but it was great defence from the Aussies.
10 seconds on the key, probably.
Have been some changes from Australia, so as is often the case, Riley Batt stays on. Chris Bond is quite happy to come off. Riley, you'd have to drag him off kicking and screaming. So the Aussies have gone for a more balanced lineup rather than the 2 high pointers and 2 low pointers. They've now brought on their midpoint strength, the likes of Andrew Edmondson, the number 14, and then Josh Nicholson out there as well.
And Australia's just keying up.
They will appear in screen any second now. There they are. So Vernon and Edmondson in the key, but they failed to prevent Roger Frey from coming through. Frey, who appears to be playing in contact lenses, quite often plays in glasses, but must have his contact lenses on here. Either that or he's just forgotten his glasses and is playing blind, but he certainly looked to be sharp-eyed as he picked up that pass and got a point on the board for Switzerland. Andrew Edmondson with his first point, and it's 12-4 for Australia. So the Aussies setting up a big hit from Nicholson. Nice pass over the top, just corralled by Schwarz.
It's always dangerous passing to low point hands.
Well, the long and the short of it is the safest thing to do is to keep it in your own lap, which is easier for Riley Batt to do than most. And even there, he found himself under pressure, but managed to get a great pass away to Andrew Edmondson. And then the two of them, 1-2, the New South Welshman, combining beautifully. Michikov being hemmed in, Batt doing all of the defensive work. They need to get the ball over the halfway line as it ticks down. Just about squeezed in there, Dijenal. Australia number 2 in the world. And Switzerland down at number 12. Australia forced to go through this qualifying tournament because there's a steal. Well, how about that? I think it was Roger Frey, the number 3. Well, regardless of the result at the end of the day, Frey's going to be able to go home and say, I stole the ball from Riley Batt. And not everyone can say that.
Beautiful.
Switzerland with a turnover. Change in possession resets the shot clock, so they've got a little while yet. And
lost opportunity,
all
lost.
the hard work done there. So they failed to score a point, and they've riled up Riley Batt.
Yeah,
other than that, it was great.
Yeah, last thing you want to do.
Into the last 90 seconds.
Reach.
So a foul there. Contact made on an opposing player. And it's Anton Michikov, the number 10 of Switzerland, going into the bin. He's going to have to wait there until Australia have scored. And Australia are going to start looking at the timestamps now. 90 seconds to go. Riley Batt's, you thought he would have wanted to score as quickly as possible, maybe around the 105 mark. He probably would have wanted to be 115, but he's being blocked very well, considering they've only got 3 out there on the court. So 105 is when he's taking a little bit more time. There we go. Anyone happens to be watching for the first time, then it's all important to have the last possession of a quarter. And if you've got the first possession of the next quarter, then that can be a 2-point swing in your favour. Tends to be in matches where they're a lot closer than this one. That is 14-6 in favour of the Aussies. 14-7 now as Jeremy Genal goes over. And Switzerland done well there in that the shot clock is 40 seconds, so they know that they will get at least one more possession, even if it's only for 7 seconds.
Nice. Just running down the time.
So Edmondson taking time off the clock and then gives it to the man who is an absolute master at running the clock down, Riley Batt. And they will try to leave as little time as possible for Switzerland for their final possession. They may even, you can hear the bench counting down for Australia. You can see the clock top right of your screen.
Yeah.
I presume that try was given, and Riley, oh, maybe not. He seems to be shrugging his shoulders a little bit. The try was given, 15-7. But Switzerland it is who will likely get the last score of this quarter. And a bit of a celebration from Roger Frey. So Andrew Edmondson with the inbound, and Riley Batts just going to leave it in his lap. So at the end of the first quarter, Australia have cruised to a 7-point lead. 15-8 they have it going into the first 3-minute break. Back to the action here at the NZCIS, and we are a mere 9 seconds into the second period, and guess what? Australia have run in another try, and having said earlier that you'd have to drag Riley Batt off kicking and screaming, well, he's not on the court at the moment. That is waved off. Roger Frey couldn't quite get there. No, he says, couldn't quite get there in time. You have to be in control of the ball before you go over the line. Now, what's interesting here is that Australia have gone for yet another different lineup. You can see number 8 there, Ben Fawcett, but more importantly, number 12, Shay Graham, and what's Ella's number? Number 1, Ella Sabljak are on there as well. Oh, a turnover. So Switzerland, well, maybe they've They've had some sort of energy drink during the break, and they've come out and got a turnover straight away. But Australia with their 2 female players in the lineup, and unfortunately, first it was Shea Graham and now Ella Sabljak. They have committed a couple of turnovers.
Even though they're 1 point over in terms of function.
That's right, so they're allowed 9 points out there on court, and I'll do a little bit of maths, but I think that's exactly what they've got, because you're allowed an extra 0.5 in your allocation. Usually it's only 8 points allowed at any one time, but you're allowed an extra 0.5 for every female player you have. And Australia, along the lines of the United States, who've also got a couple of female players in their squad when they play, they can have up to 9 points. Germany as well, we saw that earlier with Britta Kripke and Mascha Mosel, who didn't come on. Now the great thing here for Switzerland is that they've got 2 turnovers, 2 points, and they forced Australia to take one of their 2 coaches' timeouts. So you can see the scoreboard there that says 16-10 and then 4-1 for Australia, and that 1 has gone down from 2. It's the coaches' timeouts that have been taken. So Brad Duberly forced to take a timeout and reset his team. So that's quite an achievement for Switzerland.
Fantastic.
Frey going down the outside. Chris Bond is there though, as is Shea Graham. Bond gets an arm in there. Ella Sabljak grabs that one, so gets one of those turnovers back, and that will give her some confidence.
Nice reach. She's quite functional, nice low back on her chair, and
youngsters in the crowd enjoying the spectacle.
Was that 4 in the key?
My assumption is yes, that there were 4 no, it's gone. It's a turnover.
And number 8 in the penalty box.
Right, so not a penalty try, but Ben Fawcett. So it was 4 in the key, but there was no guaranteed try for Switzerland on that play. So it means that rather than a penalty try, it was just a penalty. Ben Fawcett into the box. And then the score there, courtesy of JJ. They've got 2 JJs. They've got Joel Jung, a low pointer whom we haven't seen yet, and then Jeremy Genal. But it's incredibly difficult for Switzerland. I was saying earlier that they've got nothing more than 2.5 pointers. They're probably the only team, well, we'll see it a little bit later with the Netherlands. Netherlands don't have any outstanding high pointers, but they still have 1 or 2 in their lineup, the likes of Davy van den Dop. But Switzerland have nothing higher, no higher classification than a 2.5 pointer. And their main mid-pointer, Dave MZ, not available for this tournament, so it's going to be a real struggle for them.
Just balanced lineup all the way, really, eh?
It's a struggle for Switzerland. It means they can only really play one way. They've not got the outlet in the way that Australia can have. Even if they have Chris Bond or Riley Batt forced to inbound, they've got the other one who is always available somewhere.
It's a turnover.
I think it should still be Australia's possession, which is why Shea Graham didn't scramble over there to try and get the ball back in her possession straight away, as Bond pops one over the top to Sabljak. Bond lost possession, but it came off a Swiss player, so Shea Graham decided just to let the ball go out of play and then calmly inbound after that.
Oh,
and a
no.
struggle on the inbound there from the Swiss.
It's hard when you're under this kind of pressure, when you're the lower team, and you just got to take your time and be patient. And
so is the New Zealand club season on at the moment, or is it all year round? Are there lots of different competitions?
no, we just first kicks off in Tauranga on the last weekend in April, so it's on then.
So it's pre-season training at the moment.
Pre-season training.
And the Steamrollers gearing up for a big season.
We are. Very exciting for us.
How many teams are in the New Zealand competition?
I think about maybe seven or eight.
And it's countrywide.
Yeah, separated into two divisions these days, just because we're just sort of seeing, the development. Is it 12?
Almost halfway through the second quarter, and we've had yet more changes from Australia. Jaden Warne has come on, number 23. He is a three-pointer, so you've got Riley Batt, 3.5, Jaden Warne. Jake Howe, the one-pointer, has come on. There he is, the number 4 and number 5 in there, James McQuillan. James McQuillan, who was an Aussie Rules footballer before suffering an accident, and is an emerging player for the Steelers. Only made his international debut less than 18 months ago, but is an integral part already, the number 5, and is also a very good commentator. I've had the pleasure of commentating alongside him at the Australian Championships. Gives great insight.
Just Bond putting heaps of pressure.
Excellent, fired over the top there to the veteran Christian Hanel.
No, turnover.
Almost relentless there as we see Jaden Warne getting his name on the score sheet. (25-14), Australia lead it.
No. Turnover.
Turnovers coming thick and fast now against the Swiss.
Nice give and go and a long pass.
And that's the outlet you can have, the long pass. Saying earlier that you can have the long pass from Bond to Batt or Batt to Bond, and then all of a sudden you've got Jaden Warne in there, who's a three-pointer with great trunk function, good arms, and he can throw out the long pass. Riley Batt's there to pick it up, and you can completely bypass the entire midfield. Genal not giving up. But the deficit is over double figures at the moment. And there we go, one way to the other. Before it was Warne to Bat. That time it's Bat to Warne. Michukov, who's back onto the Swiss, pops it over the top to Genal, but Genal has a lot of company there in the form of Riley Bat, but that's a great pass to Roger Frey. Seems a more balanced lineup that the Swiss have currently got. They've taken off Armin Dautai, but that's given them a little more balance, and the veteran number 2 there, Christian Hanel,
not shutting him down. A reach by number 10 into the penalty box.
Michukov, off he goes. Not allowed to make contact with an opposition player, but obviously if you're a wily campaigner like Riley Bat, you can draw some of the contact by offering an arm and trying to reel in your opponent. Gives Australia a chance to make yet another lineup change, and you can see the flowing locks of the number 15 there, Braden Foxley-Connolly.
The up-and-coming young one.
As if they needed more depth in their squad. We've seen Jaden Warne after Bond and Bat, and now we have BFC, Braden Foxley-Connolly, playing with Riley Bat. Riley doesn't offer him the try just to get his name on the board early on. Obviously, the fewer passes you have to make, the better. That limits the risk of losing possession. So 2 high pointers and the 2 low pointers in the good friends James McQuillan and Bo Vernon. So they've gone high-low again, 2 3.5 pointers and a couple of 0.5 pointers.
Lucky pass.
Frey with no way through tells Genal, you have a go.
Leaving the court.
Well spotted there, both by my co-commentator Amanda Lowry and by the referee. It was Riley Bat who put a wheel just over the... There we go, and well spotted by the camera operator as well. So everyone with sharp eyes there. And so not a penalty try, because Switzerland weren't guaranteed to score, so it means that Riley Bat is off the court. Switzerland 4 on 3.
And what you're seeing now is people just getting ready to stop him from coming on, to keep him out of play.
So Switzerland running down the time. Christian Hanel is blocking Riley Bat. They need to score though, Switzerland. Braden Foxley-Connolly getting in the way there. And Genal. And there we go, he had a lesson at counting backwards in Swiss German as the bench was counting down to let Genal how long he got left on the shot clock. Vernon with the inbound to Foxley-Connolly. Takes his time.
Seems to be a bit more pressure on with this lineup from the Swiss.
And so the pressure valve that can release all of the pressure for Australia. Riley Batts is given the ball, and he is going to wind down the clock as we get into the final few seconds of this first half. Foxley Connolly with the inbound to Riley Batt as the Swiss try to set up in the key. Once again, it's Michukov who is going to the sin bin. This is all grist to the Aussies' mill in that it winds down the clock as the first half all but comes to an end. It's difficult for people to tell because both the scoreboard and the game clock have gone down in the stadium, which is why you don't have those graphics on your screen. We're into the final few seconds of this first half. Australia with a lead well into double figures.
Foxley Connolly will do the throw-in, and Bat's waiting down. It's just going to be a big long pass probably.
You can hear the countdown coming from the crowd. And there we go. Time does indeed tick out at the end of the first half. And Australia are halfway towards securing their first win in Group A. They are double figures ahead of Switzerland. Welcome back to the New Zealand campus of innovation and sport. You can see it there, NZCIS. There is Brad Duberly, the coach of the Australian team, the Steelers, and he's in charge of his 300th match today. He's got his family watching on back home, so a big hello to them and a big congratulations to Brad Duberly, the man who played against Switzerland 24 years ago when the Paralympics were in Sydney, and now he finds himself on the bench, the coach for his 300th game, a great achievement. Now we're starting the second half, the third quarter here, and they're having a few gremlins in the system in the stadium here with the scoreboard and the timing. What I can tell you is that Australia are around 15 points clear at the start of this second half. See the lineup, they've gone Braden Foxley-Connolly with his flowing hair and Chris Bond, the opposites.
The score right now is 30-18. Might be 31 now.
Have to start keeping note of this by hand. It's going to be like the prisoners chalking off day by day of their sentence. Must be feeling a little bit like that for the Swiss. Trying to give themselves a stay of execution. The bearded figure of Armen Dautai pops one over the top, and Braden Foxley-Connolly picks that one off. Pins back his mullet, and away he goes. (32-18) for Australia. Reminder that this is Group A action. Earlier in the morning, Germany defeated Colombia 58-51 to put themselves atop Group A. Chenal getting the first score on the board for the Swiss in this second half. The bounce of the ball going the way of the Australians there. The ball coming loose and going out of play off the court, but it was last touched by, I think, Anton Michukov of the Swiss. So Australia with the inbound. In the old days it used to be Bond to bat. Now it's Bond to Braden Foxley-Connolly. Yves Langhart it was with the inbound to Jeremy Genal.
Just team unable to get over half and 12. They had to call time.
You can see Genal stuck, realised that Bond wasn't going to let him get over the halfway line within the 12 seconds on the shot clock. So as you could see, the T, the universal symbol in virtually every sport for a timeout. Australia setting up in the key, three of them in there, and then Ben Fawcett, the number 8, just outside it. James McQuillan is the other player in there, the number 5.
4 in the key. So the defending team's only allowed 3 in the key.
Wasn't a guaranteed try, so no penalty try for Switzerland. It means, though, that Ben Fawcett is in the bin. And Switzerland now up to 20, 32-20, Australia lead.
And Bond about to do a long pass. And mullets always go faster, just so you know.
Didn't realise that.
It does. That's the way it works.
How come Riley Batt's so good then?
Oh,
because he started playing when he was incredibly young and had a mullet?
I'm thinking that.
Okay, right, that's it. Yeah, we're going to stick with that. Yeah. Langhart to Dautai. Once again, they're struggling to get the ball over the halfway line within the allotted 12 seconds, and that one was a pass more in hope than expectation. Bond quite happy to let that one go out of play. It obviously been thrown by a Swiss player, and if Bond were to have gone for it, touched it and not got control of it, the ball goes out of play and would have been last touched by an Aussie, so it would have gone to Switzerland. So the ball goes dead, and when the ball goes dead, what do Australia do? They change their lineup. Do it absolutely every time. Shea Graham is back on.
Nice work. First score for her.
The librarian from Darwin.
Love that.
Riley Batt back on. And trying to push Anton Michukov out of bounds. Riley with a lot of pent-up energy, having been on the bench for a while.
And
keeps it in beautifully.
Beautiful.
Without a mullet.
Oh no, not sure how I feel about that.
Down goes Armin Dautai. Waiting patiently for the Swiss mechanics to come on and get him back in position.
Tiny bit uncomfortable.
No mullet for cushioning either when you're down there. So,
No.
So this is
Oops.
how it happened.
Yep.
And it means that Riley Batt has been called for a spinning foul. So there he is, bottom left of your screen in the bin.
And the low point player's just getting in. He's just escaped.
Michukov trying to keep him in there, but not succeeding. Bo Vernon with the inbound.
And Batt again.
More balanced lineup for the Aussies now. They've got the high pointer in Riley Batt, a couple of mid-pointers in Shea Graham and Josh Nicholson, and then the low pointer, Bo Vernon.
Turnover.
Lankard to Michukov, who pops one over the top to Genal, and that's a good combination for the Swiss. Batt desperately trying to remain within the confines of the court, does so. Desperately tries to get the ball over the halfway line within 12 seconds, does so. Bounces the ball, because you have to do that at least once every 10 seconds.
But even though the Swiss are tripling him, he's still escaping.
You can see enormous amounts of strapping on Riley Batt's left shoulder in particular, and then right shoulder as well. The left shoulder was hanging by a thread in Denmark at the World Championships almost 18 months ago, when Australia became world champions. Call for an equipment change. So the mechanics needing to come on.
Almost a bit of a spin there.
See a wheel being taken off. Chenal, Michukov, Langhart and Dautai setting up for the Swiss. Bat, Graham, Nicholson and Vernon sitting outside the key for the Aussies. Popped over the top nicely and picked up by Dautai. As I picked up, it was right into his lap, a perfect pass.
So triple on Bat down there now.
Is he going to be forced to take a timeout? And the answer is no. Bounces the ball. Can he get over the halfway line within the 12 seconds? Yes, he can. And obviously, there is nobody there to keep an eye on him. The one person who wasn't triple teaming him was being taken care of by Josh Nicholson.
Another equipment being called.
Josh Nicholson, who plies his club trade for the Queensland Cyclones. He'll be in action with them in about 6 weeks' time at the Australian Championships in Adelaide. Great to be having it down in Adelaide this year, after a good few years on the Gold Coast. It's going to be held in Adelaide for at least the next 3 years.
Active chases by Australia. And no goal.
Very clear refereeing there. You could see no try waved off. The ball coming loose.
It's a shame for Switzerland when they're working so hard.
I think we're the ones working hard. Every time the ball goes dead, there's a change of lineup for Australia. Jake Howe, number 4, is out at the moment. Riley Batt, the unmistakable figure. There is Jake Howe, manages to pick that one up and immediately gets his name on the score sheet. And other than that, we have Jaden Warne, 3-pointer back out. There he is, rolling into view. And then the 4th player for Australia is James McQuillan. There he is, trying to keep an eye and managing to keep an eye on Anton Michukov. Samuel Schwarz on for Switzerland. And Warne picks that one up. Warne bowls a flipper that goes all the way over the top. He's a Warne without an E, so no relation to Shane. And Riley Batt
Just running down the clock.
Michukov to Genal, and great hands to Roger Frey.
And
The
just
Swiss having made a few lineup changes as well.
and just keeping that ball moving and away from Riley.
Long pass over the top, and once again the outlet there is Jake Howe. Riley Batt, the supreme time manager, is going to take time off the clock as this 3rd quarter ticks down and almost comes to an end. A, it's good time management. B, it's excellent practice for the Aussies in terms of how to set up when you're running down the clock, doing set plays. The bell rings, but Riley had already gone over the line. Janel with a lot to do inside his own key. Finds Michukov. Back to Janel and just over the halfway line. Great hands through all four of the Swiss, from Schwarz to Frey. Frey back to Schwarz. Riley bats there. You have a go. No, you have a go. Your turn. I can't get past him. You have a go.
And out of court, number 10 pushed Aussie.
So there we go. It was Michukov who managed to get Jake Howe, pushed him over the line. So that is a penalty, and it means that Howe goes into the sin bin. That's why it's always good to have a player alongside me in the commentary box, because I'm busy watching the ball and you're watching everything that goes on off the ball. And that's exactly what you need to do in this sport. You need to have eyes everywhere. Chenal lacking in options there. Everyone absolutely forced together. And the Swiss do indeed go over for the try. Little too much for Howe to do on that one.
Going to be a long pass. You got a high point inbound.
Desperation stuff as the clock ticks down.
Oh,
Frey trying to pick it up. Riley Bat gets it. Punts it way forwards. As often happens at the end of a quarter, desperation stuff didn't result in a try, but Australia are still well clear of the Swiss. We don't have the scoreboard in front of us, but they are 12 or 13 points clear. Australia looking as if they are going to guarantee the 2 points for the win as we go into the fourth quarter, which will begin in 3 minutes' time.
can you boost down and find the time? Can you boost down and find the score, or no?
Welcome back to the NZCIS, the Campus for Innovation and Sport Paralympic qualifying tournament. We are getting into the fourth and final period of this second Group A match, with Australia leading Switzerland 42-26. They've been pulling clearer and clearer as the match goes on, and they've been running through all of their lines. Andrew Edmondson back on. Number 10 is Chris Bond. Bo Vernon at the top of your screen, and Ella Samblajak is there trying to catch up with Arwen Dautai. But she was always going to struggle to do that. Dautai, 2.5 pointer, and he got a little bit of a lead on her. It's a nice little entry into the tournament for Australia, really. They're playing one of the lower ranked teams, so they can run through their entire lineup. It's a real luxury when you have that strength and depth.
Absolutely, like you say, Switzerland at number 12 and Australia at number 2. Just gives everybody a chance to get warmed up. Oh, lost drop ball, Bond. Turnover.
Well, he's saying it's almost a warm-up match for them, but they need to tighten the screws. I'm sure Coach Brad Duberly won't be entirely pleased with the fact that there's been quite a lot of lost ball. I've seen 4 or 5 turnovers. Obviously, that's going to happen when you're experimenting with lines and with set plays. Ella Samblajak scoring there, and perhaps not used to scoring all that often, tosses the ball away from the referee, or maybe that was a move she's learnt from Riley Batt, accidentally not giving it directly to the ref, and that gives you a good 5 or 10 seconds to reset. Dautai going around the back. Bond not letting him through, but a beautiful pass over the top to Genal. Bond, the captain, barges his way through. The other JJ, we have Jeremy Genal, who's just picked up the ball there, and he got the inbound from Joel Young.
And a loose pass.
Samblajak with the inbound to Edmondson.
He's just coming in so fast. Oh, lost ball.
Bond gets there before Dautai. Obviously the Aussies can run through their various lines, try different plays, but they've got a squad of 12 plus another 3 at home in the extended squad. So everyone will be desperate to make the most of any game time they get. The likes of Batt, Bond, guaranteed, you think, but everyone else is trying to say to the coach, here I am, you can rely on me for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 32 minutes if you have to.
Absolutely. And when you have players with that kind of strength, getting a look in is quite difficult, so probably an opportunity like this is really good for some of those development players.
Adi Moser, former player, he's the one in the Swiss beanie. I don't blame him for being rugged up. Need to keep nice and warm in here. It's easier to keep warm when you're desperately trying to defend Batt, Bond, Foxley, Connolly, Warne. So the players out there are working up a sweat, but Adi Moser, former player turned coach now, desperately trying to keep warm.
What you can't see off screen is Australia's just in the key, preserving energy.
There they are. Frey, Young, Chenal and Doutai come up against Sadlerjack, Bond, Vernon and Edmondson. And Vernon is pushed out cleverly by Frey, and that will be a penalty try for the Swiss. Be a little bit dispiriting for Switzerland. They have to set up and everything has to work perfectly, and it takes them 35, 36 seconds to score, and then the Aussies just race up the other end, rack up a point in the space of 5 seconds, almost 2 points in the space of 10 seconds with Edmo, as he's known, Andrew Edmondson, not quite managing the intercept there.
Just the pace that you see when there's high-low lineups.
Yet another lineup change. Braden Foxley Connolly back on, as is Ben Fawcett. And James McQuillan.
Beautiful pass.
The referee starts counting down the seconds, 10 seconds in which to inbound before the game and the shot clocks start up again. Foxley Connolly needs to get it over the halfway line within 12, and he does. Penalty try after Genel got his hands in there on Foxley Connolly. Foxley Connolly's come on in leaps and bounds over the last couple of years. He first real appearance on a national stage was for the Australian Barbarians 2 years ago at the Australian Championships. The Barbarians was a bit of a make-do and mend team because Western Australia didn't send a team over. This was 2 years ago. There were still restrictions with the global pandemic, and travel wasn't that simple still in Australia, and there hadn't been training camps. That was the huge thing. Must have been the same here in New Zealand with such a large country, 2 different islands. National training camps are incredibly difficult when there are so many travel restrictions. That certainly was what hamstrung the Australians when it came to Tokyo, and Australia didn't have their best performance there, neither did New Zealand. Australia not getting in the medals, New Zealand finishing 8th in Tokyo at the Paralympics.
Beautiful pass. Foxley Connolly.
Almost a steal there.
Lots of pressure from those high pointers. And Foxley Connolly inbound is going to be long. Just looks too easy.
Going coast to coast. Cruising through.
stolen. Foxy Connolly off to Bondi.
Foxley Connolly knows that Riley Batt and Chris Bond can't go on forever, and he's very much auditioning for a spot in the starting four. I say can't go on forever, but we'll see in Paris this year the likes of Riyad Saleh for France, the 51-year-old. He's from Paris and is going to make his farewell at his home Paralympics.
It's just so awesome, though, that age doesn't matter in the sport as long as you're smart, and if you know where to be on court, you know, and keep your fitness up. Then the use by date's quite long.
Riley Batt relaxing there. Coach's timeout being taken by Adi Moser of the Swiss.
Looks like Batt's going to inbound. And a low point player right down the court.
Here's Quill. I thought Quill was going to get his name on the score sheet. He says, no, I know my place. Hands it off to BFC. And there we go.
And far safer.
Christian Hanel has come back on for Switzerland. The veteran, speaking of use by date, he's in his early 50s. Genal a fair bit younger. And excellent work there to pop that one over to Michukov.
Reaching. This is going to be number 2 in the sin bin.
It is, yes. Christian Hanel saying, was it me?
I didn't do that.
Surely not. I'm over 50. Aren't there allowances for me?
Yeah.
An extra 0.5 if you've got a female player, and reaching fouls don't count
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
over 50.
Love it.
That would be my rule.
I'd be sweet.
You'd be a double threat then, would you?
Oh, be on. Look at the pace. Just looks effortless.
Smooth, yeah. Hanel out of the sin bin. A decent inbound to Genal. And Josh Nicholson for company.
Yay.
There we go.
He got it. He got it. He got a try.
So he's the triple, he's the double threat.
Yeah.
And he's over 50 and he's a try scorer. So there we go.
Love it.
Bond, I thought he was going to give it to Bo Vernon for Bo to get what would probably, I think, be his first try on the international stage. Getting towards the last 2 minutes of this contest.
See, that was a shame. Had a high point inbound because he was trapped, and he just a bit of a wild throw. Now there's been turnover. It's just all about keeping your head, really.
Bo Vernon there with his headband. He's a Queenslander. He played for Victoria in the last Aussie Championships just under a year ago. Victoria, who almost stole it at the very death against New South Wales. They had Stu Robinson, the Team GB high pointer, with them as a guest player. And they made it all the way to the final and were within a few seconds of defeating New South Wales. But it was NSW who came up with the goods and won it for the second year in a row. Genal running out of options.
Seven seconds. Nice work. Oh, look, stolen.
So Roger Frey scoring at one end, picking up the pieces at the other. 20 points adrift heading into the last minute, but still giving it their all. And the co-captain, Genal, is going to go over for a try. The Swiss clubs all have English-speaking names to them, so you've got the Grizzlies. Not that I ever saw a grizzly bear when I lived in Switzerland. The Snakes and the Eagles. There weren't many snakes there either, a few eagles.
Number 10 in the sin bin for reaching. Oh. No.
There's been a recount, and yes, away he goes. Michukov takes his time. Australia with 40 seconds on the shot clock. Slightly more than that on the match clock. A 19-point lead. 20 will look even better when it goes down into the record books.
Still got 19 seconds to score, so just wasting time.
And I do believe it was Genal was knocked out of bounds. So he's going to have to go to the sin bin. And we are going to have the delights of a 4-on-2. What do you do when you're defending 4-on-2?
The Steamrollers have been in this position before. It's been awful. You just cry quietly from the sidelines.
Australia showing no mercy though. Great defending from Harnell and Frey. The kids in the stadium counting down. Frey knocked off there.
Penalty.
We're going to have a 4-on-1? No.
No.
It's
Oh,
a
God.
mercy rule.
Oh.
There we go. It's no penalty try. So the ball, it is, yes, it was. And obviously the Swiss have to stay in the sin bin, so it's still 2-on-4, and they let time run out. And Australia it is who take it, as expected, 60-40. Their first win of the tournament. It moves them top on points difference, just ahead of Germany. So they top Group B. Switzerland gave a good account of themselves, but that says it all, really. The strength in depth, all of them played,
Absolutely.
and they're all just so good.
Stunning. And obviously they're going to be the team to watch.
Australia running through all 12 of their players. Everyone getting some game time. A lot tougher for the Swiss. Came here with a smaller squad. Switzerland will be focusing, no doubt, on their match against Germany. Colombia, the other team in the group. Switzerland will probably hope to get something out of their match with Colombia. Switzerland and Colombia having been at the World Championships together 18 months ago, and similar in the rankings in the world. And obviously Switzerland will look to raise their game against Germany when it's a local derby. What price as well, an Australia-New Zealand semi-final could well be the case. Australia in Group A, New Zealand in Group B, with the likes of Canada as well. So if Australia finish first in Group A, New Zealand second in Group B, then that would be the semi-final matchup, and what a matchup that would be on Saturday. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. New Zealand will be in action at 3:30 today, so in an hour and a half's time they'll be taking on the Netherlands in the first Group B match, and we'll be there for that one. But before that, as we wind down on this second Group A match, be looking to talk to.
Good blowout first game. Any learnings from that game?
Oh, definitely. I don't think we've played this Switzerland team ever before, so you know, we play the Kiwis a lot, and we never really play the Europeans that often, so they play a different game, so it took us a little while to work them out. But yeah, it's good to get a lower ranked team, I suppose, early in the comp, just to dust the cobwebs off and get some game minutes before the big games later on.
Brilliant. And a couple of new players for you guys. Any standouts?
Oh, I think they've all held their weight now. Most of these guys have been to a big comp. But yeah, I think, you know, Bo Vernon sort of made a bit of a difference coming on and played a lot of minutes. So I look forward to see a bit more of him.
Brilliant. Go well, mate. Good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Chris Bond, who took over the captaincy around 18 months ago and has had great success since then. Australia winning the World Championship 18 months ago. They also won the International Cup that was held at the same time as the Rugby Union World Cup around 4 months ago in Paris. Australia winning that one despite losing to Canada in their opening match. So Chris Bond having great success as a captain. So we've heard from Chris Bond, the Swiss captain, and now we're going to hear from one of the Swiss players. I think it is Yves Langhart.
Yves, tough game first up. A few learnings from that game?
Yeah, sure. We knew this would be a tough game, but we have two very important games coming up, so we're looking forward to them.
Great. And from your team, a couple of players that haven't been to New Zealand before. How they like in New Zealand?
Oh, it's nice. The weather is a little cold for us, but it's okay.
Good luck for the rest of the tournament. Thanks, Yves.
Well, as a Kiwi there, Amanda, how do you feel about that? Swiss people telling you that New Zealand's cold. That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Seriously? Yeah, I don't think so.
I've got a Swiss passport and I find it cold here, so...
I know, but you're a bit of an Aussie at these days, really.
Exactly. I'm being a bit sensitive here. So, as you heard from Yves Langhart, they are focusing on the next two matches. For them, more likely that they will be able to get wins out of the likes of Colombia and Germany. So, Colombia having lost 51-58 to Germany, first match of the morning, and then, as we've just seen, Australia seeing off Switzerland 60-40. And then we are going to be focusing on Group B in the afternoon. Canada versus Brazil at 6 o'clock. But before that, the marquee matchup at 3:30. New Zealand versus the Netherlands. The Wheel Blacks looking to kick off their campaign with a win. That will be on in an hour and a half's time.